Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. Um, I I I'm what people would say is like a late bloomer, because I was raised in a very religious household, so we weren't really. My dating life didn't start until honestly like 19, and I got married at 20. So I didn't really have a lot of experience when it came to like dating and like all of this stuff. So by the time I got divorced, I was so far behind because I didn't have a lot of relationships under my belt or anything like that. So for me, it was just a little bit hard. And I think that's what most of my issues came in, is because I never dated like that. So I was like, a lot of guys didn't know what to do with somebody like me because I don't know. I think they thought it was bullshit, or she's too nice, or she's too this, or she's too that, and they didn't know what to do with me. They were waiting on the crazy to fall out, or, the other shoe. I got a bunch of, I don't know. Cause I didn't know what it was that people were actually going through in relationships because I didn't have a vast amount of stuff to pull from. All I knew is the people from the church, you know, my marriage, and what I saw in my family. That was all I had to pull from. So, the people who were like in the streets and dated a lot and went through a lot of the trauma stuff, I didn't understand all of that. I didn't know what they meant, when they say stuff like that, because those weren't my experiences. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. I just the way I kind of like got myself through it, because it is very toxic and it can be very pressing for you mentally. But the way I got through it is that I didn't mind being naive. And I didn't mind being naive because that meant that I hadn't been through a lot of the trauma and stuff that a lot of the people that I was associated with has gone through. So I didn't have as many guards up. And I think a lot of people didn't know how to handle that. They didn't know how to handle a person like me because they had never met somebody like that. They were used to meeting drama, trauma, street smarts, getting over on people, getting beating people out of something. They didn't know what to do with somebody like me. So once I could be like understood that, it made it a lot easier for me. It was easier for me to accept it. They could hide behind the guise of, oh, you too dark, because that's the only thing they could come up with. Oh, you too dark, or you too light, or you black. But to me, like I said, it just felt to me like trauma. Like they were, and they went through a lot of trauma somewhere down the line. Um, and because of that trauma, they didn't trust. Everybody was always out to get them. Everybody wanted something from them. Everybody was trying to beat them out of something. Women can't be trusted. I don't know because I wasn't in the streets. I don't know what they went through. I don't know what these guys were going through at 12 and 14 and 16. I wasn't dating. I was in the house or at church. So I don't know. I don't know what they were going through then, but by the time they became adults, they had already had these predetermined conceptions of black women. And so you know, because I also am one, they didn't, you can't tell the difference between, a good person and a bad person, because by now at this time I believe that people's kind of like just lump. They just lumped them all together, and they were just like, okay, well, they all playing this game, so I'm gonna just play this game with them, and it was unfortunate, but like I said, it was a learning lesson. It was a learning lesson for me, and I learned a lot. Um, and I said I leave the dating to the experts. I let that go about 14 years ago. I'm gonna say I won't date anymore. I don't see myself dating anymore. I try, but it's I don't know. I'm still scarred, I guess, or whatever. Whatever this is that I'm going through, I don't know if it's. I'm just not interested. I'm just nobody has sparked my interest enough for me to say to actually jump in. I'll put it like that. You know, nobody's ever spoke to my soul. You know, they haven't spoke to my soul, and I think that's the thing that I'm looking for, is that for somebody to speak to my soul. People speak at you. It's sort of like it's just the same old limericks that I've been hearing my whole life, and nobody speaks to your soul. So I know what I'm looking for may not be out here, and I'm okay with being by myself and stuff like that. So you know, I do enjoy hearing all of my friends talk about their dating experiences. I live vicariously through them, and then I always be thankful that I'm not out here because they're going through it, but I'm sure they'll find what it is that they're out there looking for, and maybe I might be like, maybe what I'm doing could be weak, considered weak to them. Maybe they're like, oh well, we feel bad for her because she gave up. We don't know. I don't know. I mean, we all have our perception, in this little thing we call life.